When I was 12, my family decided to spend Halloween at a small resort instead of trick-or-treating in our neighborhood. It sounded like a fun change. Pumpkin carving, games, and even a haunted hayride. The place was surrounded by woods, peaceful during the day but eerily silent at night. I met another kid there named Ryan. We both joined the hayride that evening, laughing and tossing candy as the tractor pulled us through the torch-lit path. Actors dressed as zombies popped out to scare us, and everything felt like harmless Halloween fun, until I saw him. He stood just beyond the torchlight, wearing a black jacket, jeans, and a baseball cap pulled low. He didn't move, didn't smile, didn't fit in. He was just watching. No one else seemed to notice. I tried to brush it off, but that uneasy feeling lingered. An hour later, while Ryan and I were near the snack table, I saw him again. Same clothes, same stare, standing alone near the tree line. Ryan thought he was a worker or a parent, but I knew better. Something about him didn't feel right. Later that night, as the crowd thinned, Ryan dared me to walk a bit down the wooded trail behind the cabins. I didn't want to look scared, so we went. Just two kids with flashlights joking around. Then we heard it. Slow, heavy footsteps behind us. "Hey there, boys," a man's voice said. Calm, but not friendly. He stepped into the dim light. It was the same man from before. He pulled something from his pocket and held it up. A candy wrapper glinted in the light. "I've got plenty more of these back at my cabin," he said. "Come on, I'll give you some." Ryan went pale. My stomach dropped. Without saying another word, I whispered, "Run!" We sprinted back toward the resort, shouting for help. When we reached the crowd, the man had vanished. The adults searched the woods and even the police came, but they never found anyone matching that description. No record of him, no trace, nothing. For weeks I thought I saw him everywhere, on the side of the road, at school, but it was always just someone else. At least I hope it was. Every Halloween since then, whenever I see someone standing alone in the dark, I remember that man. Not everyone watching a celebration is there to celebrate. 3 years ago, a man named Roger learned that even at home, Halloween can turn into a nightmare. Roger lived in a small house on the edge of town. He loved Halloween, handing out candy, watching horror movies, and enjoying the quiet once trick-or-treating ended. That night was peaceful until a faint knock came at his side door around 10:30. He assumed it was late trick-or-treaters, but when he opened the door, no one was there. Just the wind and rustling leaves. 15 minutes later, another sound, this time from the back door. The doorknob rattled gently, as if someone was testing it. Roger froze. Nobody used that door. Peeking through the kitchen window, he saw a man crouched near the steps. Dark clothes, a cracked Halloween mask pushed to the top of his head, and in his hand, a crowbar. Roger quietly called 911, whispering updates to the dispatcher. The man moved around the house, calm and deliberate, as if he knew Roger was inside. Then came the sound of breaking glass. The basement window. The dispatcher urged Roger to stay hidden. He gripped a kitchen knife, praying the police would arrive in time. Moments later, red and blue lights flashed outside. The man bolted but didn't make it far. Officers caught him just beyond the driveway. What they found sent chills down Roger's spine. A bag filled with duct tape, zip ties, rope, and knives. He wasn't there to steal. He was there for something far worse. Since that night, Roger never spends Halloween alone. The faintest knock or creak still makes his heart pound. The police later told him the man was linked to other disappearances. He still shudders thinking about what would have happened if help had come just 5 minutes later. Halloween isn't always about costumes and candy. Sometimes it's a reminder that danger doesn't always hide behind monsters or masks. Sometimes it stands quietly in the dark, waiting for someone to stop paying attention. So no matter how old you are or how safe you feel, always stay alert. Because real fear doesn't need to announce itself. It just needs a moment when you're not looking. It was Halloween of 2023, and I was 22. Exhausted after a long day running community events. We'd just wrapped up a festival full of games, contests, and laughter. I was ready to collapse on the couch when my little sister Savannah called. She wanted me to take her and my nephew Jackson trick-or-treating since no one else felt like going. Savannah was 15, Jackson was 11, and somehow I always ended up being the cool big brother who couldn't say no. Even though I was drained, I threw on some clothes and drove to pick them up. Savannah was dressed as Raven from Teen Titans, pale makeup and all. Jackson was Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. Once everyone was ready, we set off to a lively neighborhood packed with families and flashing Halloween lights. The night went smoothly. Kids laughed, neighbors handed out candy, and one kind man even grilled hot dogs for trick-or-treaters instead of giving out sweets. It was wholesome, until it wasn't. As the night wound down and we started the 10-minute walk back to the car, I noticed someone across the street. A figure dressed entirely in black stood in the yard of a dark house, motionless. They wore a hooded cloak and a mask, and though I couldn't see their face, I could feel their gaze locked on us. I told Savannah and Jackson quietly, "Stay close and don't stare. Someone's watching." Jackson brushed it off as a prank. Savannah didn't. She knew I carried a firearm for safety, so she realized immediately this wasn't just nerves. We tried to walk casually, but soon heavy footsteps echoed behind us. When I turned, my stomach dropped. It was the same figure, now closer. The cloak was gone, revealing tactical boots, a vest, and a black spandex mask covering the face completely. I whispered, "Don't look back. Keep walking." The footsteps stayed steady, matching our pace until we reached the car. That's when I turned, pulled out my weapon, and asked, "Why are you following us?" The figure froze, then slowly raised their hands and removed the mask. It was a woman, maybe in her 30s, her face blank and unreadable. She said in a robotic tone, "I'm an undercover officer. I thought you were involved in a break-in nearby. You should lower that weapon before you get arrested." Something about her story didn't add up. Why was she dressed like that? Why had she followed a family instead of checking a house? I asked her directly, but her expression shifted into something darker. Then she smiled, an eerie, cold smile. "If you didn't have that gun," she said, "this night would have ended very differently for you." Just then, 4 more people stepped out from between the houses. 3 men and another woman, all dressed in tactical gear. I shouted for Savannah and Jackson to get in the car. As I backed away and drove off, the first woman just stood there smiling while the others watched, motionless. Days later, I received a text from an unknown number. No words, just a photo of my car in my apartment parking lot. The police couldn't do much without a direct threat. But when I revisited the house where it all started, the homeowner told me there'd been no break-in, no police, nothing. Whoever those people were, they had known where I lived. 2 years later, nothing else has happened, but that night still makes my heart race. Always stay aware of your surroundings. Sometimes being cautious can be the reason you make it home safe.